Watch me set the world on fire. Steering. Right, now, the first thing I will say before I start this video, I absolutely love reading through the comments. I think there is just a wealth of knowledge in here. I'm genuinely learning from this channel, you know, in people's approaches to topics that we raise, etc. Some of you make fantastic phrases that I actually use in my learning. So from Ray's video, if you remember about the Audi that pulled out in front of him, there was someone called Graham who made a fantastic phrase that I loved, which in terms of, you know, thinking if the Audi driver approaches that driveway thinking there will be pedestrians. Now that's how I teach my learners. But he said default mindset, and I just loved that. It struck a chord with me. So I take things like this from the comments, and even when there's disagreements, most of you are really good, you know. But of course, look, there's always people that I think sometimes their opinions get very, very heated, and sometimes aren't always the best at putting things politely. So all I want to just remind people, certain people, is that if your opinion differs from mine or a comment you see, please be respectful. Please don't just go charging in like a bull in a china shop and judging this person that you know nothing about. That's enough said for now. Now, steering. Very, very early on, not early on, but quite a while ago now, I did have a bit of a heated thing going on with one of you about my steering, because I don't always, you know, I'm gesticulating like now, for example. Now, this is not to go at the person, but I would like to explain how teaching methods have changed and why actually you will see me sometimes doing things like this. And I'm going to explain why there's no problem. So we have what's called client-centered learning these days, and it's coaching from someone that's taught in the old way. So I qualified in 2017, and I was taught the old way of teaching, which was the student would make a mistake. I would identify they've made a mistake. I would identify why they've made the mistake and analyze the risks involved, what could have happened. And then I would tell them how we need to go and correct it. And that's all fantastic, right? But that's actually why when I learnt to drive personally, I didn't really remember anything. As I've said before, I remember one thing that my driving instructor taught me. And that's not because he was bad, but he was just telling me everything. He was doing all the thinking for me. And now when a mistake happens, as long as it's safe, we let the mistake happen. So like just a recent example, my learner here, he moves out into the right-hand lane. And I was like, oh, we had a BMW behind us. And the first thing I say to him is, oh, why have you moved out there? Because he could be thinking maybe the slip road on that's coming up, whatever. And he goes, oh, a big pallet truck. Now, as soon as he was out, I said, was that too early to move out? He went, yep. Now, the reason is he's kinesthetic. So visually, he's struggling to take that in. And he needs to do it himself. So because it's not dangerous, when he moves out to the right-hand lane, yeah, he shouldn't do it, but it's not dangerous, okay? So I let it happen. The BMW then overtakes us on the left, which of course that's the second wrong. They certainly should not do that. And they go with a sarcastic wave as they go past. This is why I think some people, that they would then go and go, oh, what are learners being taught nowadays? Well, they're actually being taught to figure things out for themselves. And things like this, we let them do because it's not dangerous. So steering is a really good example of this, okay? Back in the day, we, of course, were all taught that we needed to hold our hands at the 10 and 2 positions like this, okay? And we've got to have the thumbs outside the wheel. Fantastic, that offers lovely control, blah, blah, blah. Now, as I've said before, and I will update you on progress as and when it happens, but I am awaiting a diagnosis currently for potentially autism and ADHD, which I think is probably the more strong one, okay? Now, with that in mind, the 10 and 2, for me, I hate it, right? I hate it. I was made to do it on my driving lessons, and I would do it in my driving lessons because Barry was telling me that I have to do it. And when I then passed my driving test, I started doing things like this. Now I'm going to hold it with my left hand, but I do have like that, just the right hand like that, right? Because I'm cool and I'm now 17 and I'm on the roads, okay? And that is the danger of making people learn to drive in what you think is the correct way. People need to be allowed to explore it themselves. Now, right now, there's quite a lot going on. It's a right-hand lane I'm in, and we're overtaking a tractor, so I'm keeping an eye out for people overtaking on the left, of course. See what this van does. Oh, very close, didn't you? Now, I'm holding my two hands on the wheel, but they're further down at the 9 and 3. That's actually the kind of recommended position these days if a student doesn't have any. And it gives really, really good control. The other thing I can tell from my student, if they're holding the wheel with two hands like now, they can tell, yep, it's a bit more of a tricky environment. There's quite a lot going on. Fantastic stuff. If my student is just chilling along with one hand at the moment, I'd be like, do you want to try two hands? Because what if all this suddenly breaks in front of you and you've got to suddenly respond? I'd prefer to see the two hands, certainly at this point. Now, the DT1 examiner's guidance for a driving test, and that is the standard we should all be driving to, states a steering fault is a loss of control, erratic steering, striking the curb, or, this is the key, no hands on the wheel. No hands on the wheel. Not one hand, okay? So, on a driving test, you are able to drive with one hand on the wheel at certain times. You theoretically could do the entire test with one hand on the wheel and you would not be marked for a driving fault. So I don't really listen to people when they tell me they don't like my steering. No offense, but I don't listen because there's nothing wrong I'm doing with my steering. If I'm not using the pull-push method at all times, it doesn't matter, okay? Really doesn't. If there's no loss of control in the car and if a student understands the risks that can happen, then yes. Now, one steering I particularly hate, I will demonstrate in a little while. But now, look, my cognitive load, as Jeff said when he visited me, much lower, much more distance now, okay? Now, think about this. This is why client-centered learning is just brilliant, okay? When a student can hold the car steady and all good, I would say to, I might just start encouraging the pupil if they ask, can I have one hand on the wheel like now? And I would say, well, is there much going to happen up ahead? Oh, no, I'd see it in good time. Quite clear behind. Fantastic. Now, if you couldn't see around that bend, as far as you can see, would you have the one hand? No, I'd feel a bit more comfortable with that. Right, now, the grip is important, okay? If you notice normal grip, my grip doesn't change. I've got this hand. Now, I can do all the control that I need, big movements if necessary, without a problem. My left hand is here ready to go. It's literally ready to go. What this does for me personally, that might not be necessary for other people, is this allows me to feel like I don't want to peel my face off, okay? So driving constantly with two hands on the wheel makes me feel like I want to peel my face off, okay? And that's the whole part of like neurodiversity, isn't it? Poppy's gone through it, autism, ADHD, that's what's made us realise that, yeah, I obviously tick a lot of those boxes. Now, when I do this, when my cognitive load is low, I now feel, it's like a sigh of relief, okay? And I can concentrate so much better on what's happening up ahead. Also, something I don't think I've shared particularly with the channel over the last 6 months, I've had a frozen shoulder. So you might have seen in the past, there's videos I'm doing where I'm kind of rubbing my shoulder. I've been in a hell of a lot of discomfort with that. And if you, again, make me, look, I can feel how uncomfortable that is. That's much more comfortable for me. That's even more comfortable, okay? Give me your desire. I'm on your need, are you big? So we should, in driving lessons, we should be letting our pupils explore this. We should be letting them find their way. Now, the bonus is, think back to me, what I said at the start of this video. I was made to do this. I stopped doing that the minute I passed my driving test because I hated it. I then found my own way, which was unsafe ways like this. Okay, now those of you watching Jeff, you might say, well, he had one hand on the wheel and you picked him up. As Jeff, we chatted about it, that's because he had one hand like this. Now look how the door, blocks your response time. If he'd been like this, I wouldn't have said anything. Now low speed. This is where some people might panic when they see me doing things like this. I'm looking for an area that's suitable, right? But if I want to do steering at very, very low speed, okay, and let's say there's a small gap I'm getting in here, there's actually nothing wrong with doing something like this, okay? Think about it, right? Don't just go, oh my God, he's palming the wheel. Think about what I'm showing you. How low a speed was I? If I slip off the wheel there, nothing happens with the car. Nothing happens. Yes, the power steering might come back slowly towards the centre, but nothing happens. If I do that into a turn at 15, 20 miles an hour, whatever I'm taking it at, that's a problem. Okay, I don't like that, because now if I slip off the wheel, I could hit another car, 100%. Reversing, that's really comfortable. If it works for you, do it, okay? Be aware of the risks involved, minimal. But the bonus of client-centered, as I said, exploring this sort of thing with my learners, is when they pass their driving test, rather than finding their own way, they carry on what they've been doing on their driving. And oh my God, that is what we should be doing. We need to teach people and find their way of driving, allow them to find their style of driving, so that they will carry it on once they pass their driving test. And that way we create safer drivers, rather than ones that are doing things that we think they should do, that they hate. Yes, there are limits, of course, if they're doing things that are really unsafe, but let me give you another example of something that's actually okay. Now, one thing I don't like, and I will stop my learners doing, one hand on the wheel here, and this, right, that. Because if you slip off the wheel there, and I've actually done that, if you slip off the wheel there, the power steering comes straight back, and of course you're now not in your lane. Or if you're on a left-hand bend, where I was when it happened to me, you of course could potentially be on the other side of the road. So really important to have these kind of conversations with our learners. Those sorts of examples that I give them where I was on the bend lets them know that I'm not this perfect driver, and I've learned from my mistakes over the years that I've been driving. But note, this time when I'm doing the one hand, my hand's now much more suitable position. I will set you free when you're all a part of me. Listen, 'cause I'm preaching to the choir. Shh. No road marking, no overtaking. How exciting. So anyway, yeah, look, obviously, oh, the flash of the lights, eh? Love to hear from you on this. I'm sure there's plenty of people that will disagree. This is a bit random, isn't it? Are we really letting that? Okay. So yeah, look, let me know your opinions on this. I know there's going to be some people that disagree with me here, but guess what? As I said, when people tell me I'm wrong on steering, as much as I'll listen, I kind of won't, because I understand what we're trying to achieve as driving instructors, and that is we're trying to achieve learners that leave us and actually carry on what they've been doing on their lessons. And there's such a higher chance of that happening if you've actually explored things like this with the learners. Yeah, I've got a skid risk here. I mean, the stones are a tiny bit loose, so generally speaking, I'll keep a couple of hands on now. I'm going 25, the advisory is 20. Now I'm actually going to pick that up a little bit towards the 30, and because of that I'll keep my two hands on the wheel. But what that shows, if my learner's doing this at the moment, I would say to them, oh, what does that sign say? It's such a good way of us actually like tell whether the student's reading the road or not, whether they're understanding what they should be doing with the steering when they have a bit more license to kind of play around with it, if you like. Yeah, as I said, there's going to be those of you that disagree with me. Do it politely, I've got no problem. But hopefully you can see the side I'm coming from on this. And this is essentially not just my side, I'm not just making this up.